Hello, everyone. I'm Jason. I pastor a church in Walnut Creek, California, and this is Rethink Religion. Psalms offer us words for life. They oftentimes give us words that are personal and that are emotional, that are raw, that are real for us and real for our everyday experiences. Some of the Psalms actually even come across and read as if they could be easily lifted straight from ancient Israel and just dropped into our laps right now, today, in our life and in our world right now for what we are experiencing right now. They carry just as much meaning for us today as they would have to the ancient Israelites or to David, to King David, when he wrote many of them. Psalm 5 is one of those psalms that I believe could be transported perfectly from their world to our world today. Listen to these words. Listen to my words, Lord. Consider my lament. Hear my cry for help, my King and my God, for to you I pray. In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my request before you and wait expectantly. For you are not a God who is pleased with wickedness. With you, evil people are not welcome. The arrogant cannot stand in your presence. You hate all who do wrong. You destroy those who tell lies. The bloodthirsty and deceitful, you, Lord, detest. But I, by your great love, can come into your house. In reverence, I bow down toward your holy temple. Lead me, Lord, in your righteousness because of my enemies. Make your way straight before me. Not a word from their mouth can be trusted. Their heart is filled with malice. Their throat is an open grave. With their tongues they tell lies. Declare them guilty, O God. Let their intrigues be their downfall. Banish them for their many sins, for they have rebelled against you. But let all who take refuge in you be glad. Let them ever sing for joy. Spread your protection over them, that those who love your name may rejoice in you. Surely, Lord, you bless the righteous. You surround them with your favor as with a shield. When you read over and when you look over Psalm 5, what you see is you see words that were not just for David, words that were not just a reflection of what David was feeling, what David was experiencing at that moment in his life. What you hear and what you see is you hear words that are for you, that are for us, that are for us today, all people today. They go beyond. These are words that go beyond time and space and culture. What we see as we read over these words in Psalm 5, we can get conflicting images almost of God, images of God as an incredibly angry and incredibly wrathful God, but also images of a perfectly loving and faithful and merciful and compassionate and just God. Verse 3 especially resonates with me right now. Let me read that again. He says, in the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my requests before you and I wait expectantly. Expectantly. How often do we pray and do we cry out to God from a place of expectation? I think for most people, it's fairly normal that when we pray, when we cry out, when we call out, when we hit that point of doing that, of falling on our knees before God, we are doing that and we hit that point, we come from a place of desperation, not expectation. This is, like many of the Psalms we've looked at so far, this is yet another Psalm of lament. And if you think, there's a lot of lamenting that goes on in life. This isn't unusual. This is normal. Lament And grief is normal for life. But despite his fear, David prays and he calls to God with expectation. Expect that God will hear you. Expect that God will listen to you, that he will answer you, that he will provide for you. Expect that God will save you. Expect that God will do great and incredible things in your life. Don't look to God, or don't look for God as a last resort. When we have no place else, when you feel like you have no place else to turn or nowhere else to go. Look to God as your first line of defense. Look to God with expectation of what he will do. Hey everyone, did you find this episode of Rethink Religion to be encouraging, uplifting, or inspiring for you today, or helpful for you today? If so, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss out on another episode. Thanks.